Did you know that your brain could show signs of dementia on a scan, but you never experience the symptoms of dementia or memory loss? Why, you might ask? Well, it all comes down to something called cognitive reserve. In this video, I'm going to share with you what cognitive reserve is, why it is so crucial for women like you and I over 50 to have more cognitive reserve. And I'm also going to give you 7 simple ways that you can start to build cognitive reserve today. My name is Dr. Diane Thompson. I'm a rehabilitation physician and a lifestyle medicine specialist. And I am passionate about sharing information about healthy aging and longevity for women over 50 like me. So cognitive reserve is your brain's ability to adapt to finding new ways of doing things and to stay sharp. It's an indication of how agile your brain is with learning, with participating in new skills, with problem solving, and with the ability to cope with new challenges. Cognitive reserve is like a mental savings account that you develop over a lifetime of education and curiosity and problem solving and putting yourself in new unique situations and really learning from those situations. So this concept actually originated in the late 1980s when researchers were looking at individuals who had no apparent symptoms of dementia, yet on autopsy, their brain had changes that were consistent with someone who had advanced Alzheimer's disease. These individuals did not show symptoms of disease while they were alive because they had a large enough cognitive reserve to offset the damage. And so they were able to continue to function as usual despite the damage. Ongoing research has shown that people with greater cognitive reserve, well, they are better able to not show symptoms of cognitive changes that occur in the brain, even if those changes are there. This is also important for us as we get older and we have brain changes. And even people with neurodegenerative diseases, like many of my patients. So people who've had multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, things like stroke, brain tumors, right? So this is important for these people because we sometimes see a difference that having cognitive reserve has when someone has an event like prolonged stress, infection, surgery, anesthesia. Some people go through these events and they do fine, while others, it takes a toll on them cognitively. It really takes a while for them to actually recover. I'm sure you've seen this before because I've definitely seen it. So the better your cognitive reserve going into these events, the better you'll tend to do. Researchers at Harvard actually identified some simple things that you and I can do to build up our cognitive reserve. You're going to notice that many of these form the pillar of lifestyle medicine. The first one is to eat a plant-rich diet. This way of eating is going to give you a lot of nutrients that's important for your body and your brain. Antioxidants going to be found in many fruits and vegetables. And this is going to reduce your brain's inflammation and oxidative stress. And both of these are linked to cognitive decline. Improved blood flow comes from green leafy vegetables, berries, and beets. And this is going to support your blood vessels, which improves blood flow to the brain. This is crucial for maintaining cognitive function. Healthy fats, some of the plant-based sources of fats like nuts, seeds, avocado, these are going to provide omega-3 that protects brain cells and supports communication between these cells. And the fiber-rich foods, you've heard of the gut-brain connection? Well, fiber-rich plant foods are going to feed the good bacteria in your gut. And this is going to produce compounds that benefits the brain's health and may even improve your mood and your memory. There's also the heart-brain link. Plant-rich foods can help to lower blood pressure and cholesterol and inflammation. These are major risk factors for things like stroke and dementia. So the bottom line is, A colorful, plant-rich plate doesn't just nourish your body. It helps to keep your brain resilient and sharp as you age. So a colorful plate equals a sharper mind. So start building cognitive reserve one bite at a time. The second one is exercise. Regular, consistent exercise can boost stronger cognitive reserve by strengthening the brain's ability to adapt, to repair, to form new connections. This is even as we age and face some conditions like stroke and early dementia. Exercise improves blood flow to the brain, and it's going to stimulate brain growth. It's going to reduce brain inflammation and stress. It's also going to support mood and sleep. All of these are important to improving brain reserve. What type of exercise is best for improving brain reserve? Aerobic exercise like walking, swimming, biking, running. These are best for increasing blood flow and increasing brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. It's basically looked at as a protein that helps the brain cells. The second type is strength training. This is going to include weights, resistance bands, body weight exercises like squats, pull-up, push-ups. This type of exercise is going to support vascular health and insulin sensitivity. And both of these are actually really important for brain health. And the third type of exercise is mind-body movement, like one of my favorites, yoga, Tai Chi, and even dancing. These types of exercise will boost coordination and balance, and they're also going to provide stress relief while also enhancing both cognitive and emotional reserve. Bottom line, a combination of aerobic, strength training, and mindful movement done consistently, even 30 minutes, most days of the week, can protect your brain, build cognitive reserve, and help you stay sharp well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. The third thing is to get enough sleep. I've talked about this before. Sleep is one of the most powerful ways to protect and build brain reserve. Your brain's cleanup crew, well, they work at night, right? During sleep, deep sleep in particular, the lymphatic system clears out toxins like beta amyloid that's linked to dementia. And I will say there's some controversy about this now, but so far the research still says there's a link. So we'll go with that for now. Secondly, sleep is going to help to reinforce memories. It's going to allow us to form new neural pathways, which is key for learning and adaptability. The third thing is that sleep protects the brain and helps resilience of the brain. Lack of sleep actually causes inflammation and cognitive decline, which can reduce the brain's ability to bounce back. Sleep supports mood and focus. So getting adequate sleep helps improve emotional regulation, attention, and motivation. In other words, it helps us stay mentally sharp and emotionally stable. It's not uncommon for me in the past to see patients on my rehab unit that have had brain trauma or brain injury or neurological issues not participate well in therapy that day. And upon investigation, they'll say they did not sleep well the night before. And we found that something like a nap, once they wake up, they perform very differently. And I also remember being in medical school and pulling all-nighters, going into an exam, and just was completely out of focus, right? It is interesting because my hubby back then used to say, go to sleep, you'll do better on the test. But the type A in me wanted to stay up and study. It was the worst thing I could do. I mean, I know better now, right? So it's much better to get that sleep. And you, I'm sure, may have experienced not sleeping well and not performing well the next day. Sleep is really important when it comes to maintaining focus, to paying attention, to being emotionally stable. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of restorative sleep nightly. This usually helps to keep the brain strong, adaptable, and healthy. The fourth tip is to manage your stress. So first, what is stress? Stress is your body's natural response to a perceived threat or demand. And it could be physical, emotional, or psychological. And while short-term stress is helpful, it can be helpful, chronic persistent stress can actually damage the brain over time. This can lead to weakening of memory, shrinking of key parts of the brain, and reducing the brain's ability to adapt and build cognitive reserve. Stress also shrinks the memory center in our brain. Too much cortisol can damage the hippocampus, and that can then affect our ability to learn and memorize. Stress disrupts brain connections. Chronic stress weakens the neural pathways, making it harder to think clearly and to adapt. Stress can also affect your sleep. And we already talked about how poor sleep can affect the brain, so you won't get an adequate repair, detox, or growth. So the key is to maintain cognitive reserve by lowering your stress. Stress can also drain your energy to do the things that you need to do, to socialize, to learn, to exercise, all of these that are important, right? So bottom line is to manage your stress. It's not a luxury, it's essential for keeping your brain flexible, sharp, and strong. So what are some simple ways that you can do to reduce your stress? You can practice deep breathing, meditation. Even 5 minutes can lower cortisol and calm your nervous system. Take a nature walk. I've talked about this before. Walking in nature has shown to reduce your stress. Outdoors can help regulate stress, regulate your hormones, and actually boost your mood. And it's a double win, right? Because it's then for the brain health and also the body. Another option is to listen to music that you enjoy. This is going to activate the reward center in your brain and help you to relax instantly. Do one of my favorite things, journaling. Talking it out or getting it out, whether out on paper or to a trusted friend, can often help to relieve that mental load. Another tip is to manage your stress by doing something joyful and creative. So art, dancing, gardening, one of my favorites, coloring even. These can help to reduce your stress and really engage the brain. The bottom line is that small moments of calm throughout the day can add up to gains for your brain and for your body. Fifth thing is to improve your social interaction. Nurture your social connection. This means making time to build and maintain meaningful relationships. These relationships with others is really important. And this could be through deep conversation, could be shared activities, emotional support, or just simply spending time together. It's really about the feeling and being seen and valued and supported, right? And so it doesn't require a large social circle. I don't have a large social circle. So just getting trusted small group can make a huge difference. And the reason it's important is that chronic loneliness seems to trigger the body's stress response. It raises inflammation and cortisol level. And we already talked about how this is not good for the brain, right? The other thing is social interaction will also challenge your brain. Why? Because you're going to listen to someone, you're going to empathize, you're going to talk, you're going to remember what they say, you're going to communicate, respond. And this is important. Without this type of mental stimulation, you're going to lose a key source of mental exercise. And finally, the studies have shown that loneliness is associated with a higher risk of dementia and faster cognitive decline. It is believed that this is because, again, what I mentioned earlier, the brain lacks that engagement that allows it to stay resilient. So the key takeaway is to stay socially connected, because it's more than just for emotional support. It's for the brain. It's essential brain fuel. And sometimes even a simple phone call, a walk with a friend, joining a club, these things can help you to nurture relationships and important for your cognitive reserve. Number 6, we're getting there, is to avoid unhealthy behaviors. These are going to include illicit drugs, excessive alcohol, and smoking. These are bad for the brain. These can decrease your cognitive reserve and they can speed up brain decline. So here's how. Smoking, for example, will reduce oxygen supply to the brain. It can damage blood vessels, which can then increase your risk of stroke and dementia. Smoking can also increase shrinkage of the brain and cause memory loss. Excessive alcohol can have long-term harm to the brain cells and disrupt neurotransmitters, risk cognitive impairment and mood disorder. It also interferes with your quality of sleep. Alcohol can, and we know that sleep is important for brain repair. Even moderate alcohol, by the way, can affect particularly women more strongly because of metabolism and hormone shifts. Illicit drug use or even prescription drug use can impair our memory, can affect our mood, our attention, can increase our risk of fall, which can then lead to injury and trauma to the brain, can lead to confusion or long-term cognitive decline. So again, the bottom line here is to avoid these habits, because it doesn't just protect your body, it gives your brain more resilience and helps you to recover more from setback and to stay mentally sharp. The final step, I'm getting over a cold, so my throat. Remember that your brain is like a muscle, so intentionally engage and challenge it every single day to keep it strong and adaptable. So the mental flexibility makes up cognitive reserve, and we really want to exercise the brain so it can stay sharp and compensate for age-related changes or damage. So how does challenging your brain help? Well, it's going to strengthen the neural pathways, right? If you learn new skills, you're going to form new brain connections. It's going to reinforce the existing ones. It can also enhance your ability to problem solve and focus, right? Mental challenges can keep your executive function sharp. Executive function refers to a set of higher level skills that we use every day. These include things like performing tasks, planning, organizing, regulating our action and behavior, and adapting to new situations. Challenging your brain can also build resilience, right? The more diverse the stimulation, the more backup route your brain has when it's faced with decline or injury. So what does challenging your brain actually looks like? Well, do things that feel slightly uncomfortable at first. Learn something you've never tried before. Do things where you might struggle for a bit, but commit to enjoying the process and to learning. It's really not about being perfect. It's about being engaged. So what specific ways can you intentionally challenge your brain? Learn a new skill or hobby. Learn a new language. Learn a musical instrument. Learn to paint, to code, even to play chess. Play strategy games or puzzle games. These include crossword puzzles, Sudoku games where you have to strategize, or even use brain training apps. Take an online course, commit to learning. So learn a nutrition course or a writing course, right? In other words, you're going to commit to, like I said, lifelong learning. Journaling by hand. This affects your brain differently. Break out of your routine. Cook something new, walk a new route, use your non-dominant hand to brush your teeth. I do this sometimes. And teach something new to someone. That's going to force you to really think clearly and deeply. The takeaway here is to stretch your mind regularly. Keep it flexible, keep it sharp, keep it ready to adapt. The goal is to be the best you can be while you grow older and you're learning. Aging is inevitable, but cognitive decline is something you actually can influence. And by understanding the activities that support your cognitive reserve and being intentional about preserving your brain's health, your brain can grow, it can adapt, it can thrive in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So be curious, stay connected, keep moving, keep learning, eat the right things, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. There's another person out there who is interested in healthy aging and longevity, and this might help them. Thank you so much for watching.